Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. I am here with the Coach John Brent.
And Brandon's here with the Vet.
And guess what, Coach? It is the end of the year. It is our final podcast of season Dose 2.
Down to the end.
Yes. So why? That's the other language I was thinking of.
What is it?
Z-W-E-I. And the W is always pronounced with a V. You know, the Germans always V. This is why.
Am I still drinking this?
We're still drinking this. This is some good Kool-Aid right here. It's called Glühwein. I'm surprised y'all ain't drinking it.
I think my daughter's driving home. Let's go, Brandon.
Yes, so we're going to talk about what has happened in the year of 2021 as we're kicking it to the curb.
Yeah, and I know we have some topics, but I would have to say this has kind of blown up.
It has.
And I kind of wanted to explain it real quick. There was a NASCAR race. Guy was Brandon.
Yes.
Interviewing him. People in the background were saying FJB, FJB.
Yep.
And the commentator either was trying to play it off or she didn't understand. Says, oh my gosh, they're chanting, let's go Brandon. And everybody was like, no, it really wasn't. Let's go Brandon. And it has been absolutely nuts. I know some people on the left, even some family members of mine, have really been upset by it because, they get offended with anything. But I've actually had this about 5 or 6 weeks, have worn it 4 or 5 times. And I've had people, oh my God, I love this shirt. I haven't had anybody say anything negative about it. I've had people that actually started chanting it around at one point. But it just kind of comes to the point where in politics and sometimes when the country is so divided like that, just something can take off.
Yes.
And it's kind of been a cry for the right to go, come on, man. The uniting you said was crap, all these things, but in a way of not just saying FJB, we just say this.
So I will say, I was at the Cowboy Chief game at Arrowhead Stadium, and they were saying it like crazy up there.
I don't know, stadiums are that way.
Yeah, they have gone crazy. And I will say, for me personally, I think the office of the president should always be respected. Now, I will say, the people who I hear complain about this shirt are the very ones that put a whole lot worse stuff out there about DJT, number 45. I mean,
well,
if their chaplain would have heard him, he would have grabbed him by the ear and took him in the confessional booth right then, and brought the priest in to whoop him with the rosary and holy water, and he would have exorcised the demons out of them if he had heard how they acted, to be honest. But that's a horse with a different color. But it doesn't bother me either way. I just want us to always respect the office of the president. Period.
Yeah, but you should be able to protest. People have done that for years. I remember even when LBJ, Nixon were in office, there were people standing outside the White House for hours, sometimes for days, protesting the Vietnam War, certain things going on. This is a type of protest. It's funny how liberals have always been the party of the protest, and they'll start one and call it a protest, even with stuff burning in the background. But when a conservative does something like this as a protest of where's this unity, where's this thing, this is just so disrespectful to the president.
Well, for a couple of reasons for the liberals is it's not organized burning crap down and bringing bricks to an area to go throw through windows.
Right.
That's one. It's a protest they're not used to where it's civil. It's civil. It's civil, heroes, and they don't like that because that doesn't stir their emotions. So anyway.
Sure.
So we're kicking out 2021, and so one of the things I got to say, one of the things that happened is the Let's Go Brandon guy, number 46, promised America that he would unite us. That's how he ran, that he would unite this country. And even in his inauguration speech, he came out and had a blurb about uniting, and then he went on the attack. Yeah. And he hadn't left the attack since. And do I feel united? Not in the least. The country's not united. And in fact, what I will throw out there is he's done a good job of not even uniting his party, more or less the country. And he is the president for the country, not his party, but he can't even unite his party. So that's the first observation I got. We got a new president, which is number 46. You and I have concurred with that the whole time. That's who he is. He won. There's no doubt in that. But, dude, act like it. Be the president. Unite us. Hello, it's your job. That's the first thing I'll say about 2021.
Yeah, real quick, the unification of Joe Biden has been a failure because, like you said, he has not even tried to step to bring in the other half of the country that was, 51-49. Let's say bring the 49% in that lost the election. but he's not even unified his own party, and you have such a split there that you can't get anything done.
Yeah.
The only thing that's gotten done was the infrastructure bill, and that could have been done before. And, you know, I do fault Trump for not getting that done, especially early on in the president when you had everybody on, you had a majority.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was a lot of talk about, you know, defunding, or excuse me, not defunding, I'm using a 2021 word here of, you know, repeal and replace Obamacare that had been talked about for a number, 7 or 8 years, and you couldn't get that done. But right now, there is no unity, and actually, there's been more dissension since he took office with the COVID, with the vaccine, with the things going on in the economy, with the things going on. You can't even get a bill. The Build Back Better is socialism on steroids. I mean, where is the unification?
But the Build Back Better ain't going nowhere. Joe Manchin killed that.
Well,
and the guy that's within their party that he disagrees with, you know, he's had the Democrats bully him, torment his family, you know, do pretty much do mob tactics toward him.
Maxine water tactics.
Yeah, Maxine mob water tactics to try to convince him, because that's how they play the playbook. They couldn't just go to let's go Brandon tactic and say, hey, Joe, what can we give you to help the people of West Virginia since you're thinking of them?
Well, it's not only that. They put all the pressure and the push down on Manchin, but there's 50 other ones on the Republican side that are against. So it's really 51%.
Yeah.
So why don't you reach out to some of the party and say, that's how they used to do.
Called compromise, is it not?
Compromise. They say, okay,
I believe it is.
We want this, you want that. Let's figure out a way. What would it take for you?
Yeah.
Even if it's not something that we wanted, is it less money? Is it more of this, more of that? But they don't even try to. What they try to do is put the pressure on Manchin, and then all they do is say in the media, and I mean they, meaning the Democratic Party, is we're the only one for the country. These guys are against everything about.
All you heard is how bad and evil the Republicans are, and how bad and evil Joe Manchin is. And you even had AOC pretty much call them Southern Hicks, is pretty much what she called them. You know, that they're dumb and Southern and they don't know anything.
Well, it makes me feel so much smarter just hearing her say that.
Yeah, but I will say, I watched Dagan McDowell on the 5 the other day sit there and go, yeah, us Southerners will play that for you, AOC. Just remember, you would never carry a single county in this state, West Virginia, because even though we play that dumb one for you, we are far smarter than you will ever be. Because you ain't got the sense enough to even figure that shit out.
Well, I want to throw one out. I know you've got the list that you're going on. I want to throw out the Trump derangement syndrome that should have ended January the 20th. I can't turn. I listen to Sirius XM all the time, and I listen to MSNBC, the CNN, the POTUS channel, the Urban channel, the Progressive channel. I listen to all of them because I want to hear. Every single channel is talking about Trump, January 6th, Trump, what's going on with Trump. And it's like, wait a minute. I thought he's not president. Well, you're giving him the power by talking about this guy. It's like you can't talk about Joe Biden and his successes because there aren't any.
Coach, I asked a question. at the end of December last year. And we have some very liberal people that were on this one page, Camp County Politics. You want to check it out. And we get in there and get some debates. And the question I asked is, what will be your platform that you run on now that you cannot run on a platform of Trump? Oh, we have so many great policies, da-da-da-da-da. And I said, what will be your platform? Because so far you haven't had a platform about Trump. And now today, you say anything. Joe Biden fumbled the football in the end zone in the fourth quarter with Afghanistan. We all know that.
Right.
And I'll go in a minute. But, that was Trump's fault. You know, the economy is Trump's fault. This is Trump. No, Joe Biden's the president. Hello, McFly. You know, I'm like, geez.
I mean, I have tried to figure out one success that I can give to Joe Biden in his first year, since we're talking about the end of the year here. I mean, you can't. I mean, Afghanistan was a blunder. COVID. I mean, more people died in 2021 than they did in 2020, and he said that it was his baby. Now, he has not taken responsibility for anything. Not the economy, the inflation. We hear this great number of unemployment numbers, but then you look at people added to the job aren't adding up because people aren't going back to work.
It's the people that didn't have, that were out of the market because of COVID.
Right.
So that's a really hard one to tell. But so I got another one here, Coach. But with Joe Biden, I will say this is regarding him. Name one thing that he's done in a positive light for the United States of America that hasn't revolved around extorting money from the American taxpayer.
Sure.
Please. So
well,
anyway.
We could wait for 15 minutes and it'd be silence.
It's crickets.
All the time.
So moving along, COVID is still kicking around. It's 2021, and we were promised that if I'm elected president, that I will get rid of that. You know, because I didn't trust the previous president and his 2 COVID vaccines that he handed me that are the only 2 that are really valid and not in question, like the Johnson & Johnson one is currently in question. Those 2 that President Donald J. Trump, number 45, that threw out there with Operation Warp Speed, that he handed me that gift, you know, I'm going to fix it. But Joe Biden has those, but he demonized the predecessor so much that people don't trust him to take them. That's the bottom line.
Well, not only has he demonized the predecessor for the person that set up the organization called Operation Warp Speed, but he's also demonizing and blaming every single thing not on his ineptness, not on Fauci, not on, let's just say there's no reason, no person to blame. Just say that that's the spread because that's what variants do. But he's blaming it on white Southern people that refuse to take a vaccine. And now we have a vaccine once, what you needed to do. You had to get a second one. Now a third booster is going to be required. Some are even talking about a booster, a 4th. And because Omicron is different, it's not going to end because it's not about protection of us all that we need to be worried about. We need to be understanding that, are we in a free country where each individual can decide and their family and their doctor? Now we're talking, I heard something on the Progressive Channel on the way up here today that said, we need to take the doctors and people's physicians out of the conversation when it comes to vaccination.
I'm going to listen to my doctor. So
It makes
I don't
no sense
understand
to
it.
me.
So Coach, one thing I'll say on that is when I was a young sergeant major, I had a couple guys get DUI, and when because that's what young soldiers sometimes do. I had to go see a division sergeant major on any DUI you had. That's not fun. You getting your butt chewed like you did it, you know? And the division sergeant major ran everybody out of there after chewing their butt. And he looked at me and said, Ian, how come your soldiers don't respect you enough to listen to your orders? Now, the president doesn't give orders, but how come he hasn't motivated the nation enough for we to respect him enough? We go, hey, president said, let's get a vaccine. We probably should go get it. Because he demonized the damn thing first. He belittled it at first, along with his counterpart, Kamala Harris. And now he is facing the whirlwind of his stupid actions. Yeah, and they are stupid.
Correct. And do you remember early on they said, if there's a vaccine comes out under Trump, I'm not going to take it. Some of those people in the Democratic Party were refusing
He did.
to say that.
He did.
Right.
She did.
Right.
Yep.
They refused to take it.
For months. Not once, for months.
And now when people refuse to take it based on a religious thing, or they just don't feel comfortable with whatever, then they're demonized. But they said it all because it was going to be Trump's vaccine.
Or they don't trust it because they got kids and they don't trust the outcome of it. And I hear people go, well, you don't know what's in the aspirin. Shut the flip-flop up. It's an adult. It's a parent making the decision. Let them make their decision. You made your decision. You don't trust what's in the aspirin, but you take it, so shut up. Do what you got to do.
I've had people tell me the same thing. If you don't want to take something, don't take it. If you want to take it, you take it. Why all of a sudden has this one vaccine, which we've had, over the last 120 years, we've had major pandemics, we've had all kinds of things. We've had things that kill more people every year than this, called, I hate to say it, obesity-related issue. Yep. Nobody's complaining about that, putting a mandate on, well, you have to be under a certain weight before you can have a cheeseburger or before you can have all these other things. But now we're looking at it as...
Cut my cheeseburgers out.
I know, I'm just saying. But this one thing has become so political because from the Obama, and I'm going to say it the way I want to say it, from the Obama division and devices that he started and created, then the Trump's people, and it's even got worse, and now it's even more now. Everything is political.
One thing I will say on a positive note here for this administration, Kamala Harris just finally said this the other day on her interview with CBS or ABC, I can't remember which one. But when they said, is it the unvaccinated people's fault? She says, no, it's the disease's fault.
That's true.
And that is a true statement. You know what, Kamala? Hats off to you, because you're the only one in the administration who's ever said that. It is the disease's fault. It's no person's fault. It is the disease fault.
It's the disease fault, and it's the Chinese fault for allowing it to get to the way
I concur with that.
And, we call things for 200 or 300, 400 years Chinese coronavirus or the Spanish flu or whatever. And when that became political right up front, and then Nancy Pelosi, I remember on camera said, no, you go out to Chinatown and do whatever you want to do. And now they look back and said he should have closed it down before.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
So the other thing I got, Coach, is the economy is in the tank.
Yeah.
We have had the worst inflation rate in 39 years. That's a fact. We are trying to rival Jimmy Carter to our best. We are trying our damnedest to do it. And with the policies that are going on, that is one of the things that we face in 2021 is the inflation rate is out of this world. Used to I could build half this garage for chump change. And now I can buy two 2x4s and I have to take out a loan for the third one.
Well, exactly. And I'm a little bit scared. We think about doing a renovation. We built a new home, but we're actually thinking about doing something extra to the home. And just thinking about the cost, it's going to be probably an extra 30 to 35% extra cost than it would have been a year and a half ago.
At least.
So do we wait 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
Or will it be worse than 4 or 5 years because all the things we're trying to add to our deficit, our budget, inflation is going to continue to rise? Are we going to end up being more like Venezuela type situation? I'm not saying we're going to end up being 2,100% inflation, but are we headed to that way and we're not coming back? So once it gets to that bad place that we don't want to be, that we consider that the norm? I hope not, but it could be.
Now, on 2021, the other thing I'll say, Coach, is the most monumental blunder in our nation's foreign policy history in my lifetime for sure, has been the haphazardly lackadaisical withdrawal of Afghanistan. That has probably been the biggest foreign policy blunder that I've ever seen in my life. We deteriorated tremendously. It's like we put a bomb with the relationship of our allies right there. We turned our back on them. The Afghani allies, our NATO alliance allies, we just like, hey, we're going, screw you guys. We're not really going to console with you. And I've heard people say, well, hey, Trump was in the process of doing this also. Trump wasn't in the process of leaving without any repercussions. Trump was not in the process of letting 13 people die and not doing a damn thing. Trump was not in the process of leaving all our shit there. And, almost if Joe Biden would have done anything different, it would have had a different outcome. I don't know. And I'm going to lay them out real quick so you can hear them real fast, boys and girls. Put a goddamn carrier fleet out the port of Karachi and fly over would have stopped all that mess right there in Kabul like that, because they don't like them airplanes flying over because they're petrified of them. That's one. Work with our Afghani partners and maybe had given air support since the month of March, 2 months after the president took over, since the month of March, and put logistical support so they wouldn't even have that advance that they had in that area. That's two. Maybe ship all our shit and our interpreters out before you say, hey, I want my magic 911 moment, guys, because I want to do it on the 20th anniversary. That's so how far out of touch I am about foreign policy. And you've heard me say, put a Democrat with foreign policy, and what do we have? They blunder because none of them know how to do it. And until you prove me wrong, I'm just going to keep saying that. The last one was Truman. Prove me one American president that's got the D word next to him, standing for Democrat or dumbass. I don't know which one it's standing for this time. I think it's dumbass because they do not know how to handle foreign policy. It is like, I don't know, it's like the first time they walk into a girl shower and they're a guy. They don't know what the heck's going on. They're lost. They're confused. They're messed up in the head. They're just totally out of their element. So to me, that is the biggest uh-oh in all of 2021.
Well, and even this, if Trump would have won the presidency this time, and he would have done exactly what Joe Biden just did, I would not only be complaining, I'd be just as pissed.
Yes.
I mean, I don't care who you are.
I would be asking, why is he not being impeached?
Exactly.
And I don't know why Joe Biden.
He would have been.
He would have been, but I don't know why Joe Biden's not over that.
Well,
that is the biggest
turnabout.
turnabout.
A majority, I guess.
Well, that, because, it's Joe.
Yeah.
It's Joe. Who cares? Who cares if he checks time at the transfer of remains? Who cares?
There's two different, playbooks that are being used for that. But also, one thing you don't want to take, I'll tell you the emotion that was felt over that week when we started seeing, people hanging on the airplanes.
Yeah.
And we started hearing about bombs going off and soldiers dying, and when they didn't have to.
Yes.
And you're right. I've never been in the military once in my life. You've been for 31 years. You've been to Afghanistan. You've been to Iraq. You've ran this kind of stuff. But one of the first things that I thought, just as a nobody, was, wait a minute. Why don't you get all of the Americans out? Why don't you get all the American allies out? Get all the people from Afghanistan that you promised to get out before you send any military home? Actually, when you want to decide that, hey, we're going to do this in September, why don't we increase it 10 or 12 more thousands to get our people out before we then start sending our people home.
Bingo.
Did he just think that the Taliban, a terrorist organization, that Trump should have never spoke with myself? I don't think he should have done that. You hear that? I say Trump did something wrong. I agree. But you don't go in and say, hey guys, we're about to leave, so just let us leave how we want to leave. Am I kidding me?
If I was to negotiate with the Taliban, and I'm going to tell you, I'm a little more brutal than everybody else, I would have walked in that negotiation with a bag of heads and go, here's your buddies. Let's talk now, boy. And you know, it changes dynamics because fear does change dynamics. Whether you like it or not, it does.
Like you said, airplanes and drones, they're terrified of.
Yep.
Why did we just have the skies full of them?
And this shows the respect the world had of President 46, Joe Biden, before this happened. It shows the respect that the Taliban goes, it's Joe Biden. Let's get our country, guys. They had zero respect whatsoever. They didn't even wait till we left. They like, we're getting it now. That's the respect they had for him. That's the fear they had of him. None. Nix, none on the Pomfrets.
Now, it's not on the same scale, but remember after 9/11, President George W. Bush stood up on a pile of rubble and said, I hear you, and the people that knocked down these buildings will be hearing from us all soon. Well, Joe Biden stood up there and tried to be tough after 13 of our soldiers were killed. He said, there will be retaliation for this. And we find out that we blew up a family of people carrying water.
Let me see if I can do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Is he going to talk about Bo, too? He's going to talk about Bo.
Yeah.
And anyway, but we blow up a caravan of people carrying water.
Yes.
That was supposedly part of the people that
we
were
ruined
doing the bombing.
We ruined a whole bunch of families' lives for no reason.
Well, what I'm getting to is where is the Senate hearings on that? Where is the impeachment for killing innocent people? Where's the impeachment for him blundering this whole thing and allowing... There's people still there right now, Americans in Afghanistan, people that we wanted to protect. And the last thing I'll say, and I said it at the time, is Kamala Harris is the first female vice president this country's ever had. She should have took this opportunity to stand up for the Afghani women, which was shown around the world that now there's a new woman in charge, and it's named Kamala Harris. That would have gotten her more votes when she decides to run for president, and that would definitely got her more respect for people that don't respect her at all.
A lot of respect. Everybody would respect her. But it was a telling sign when General Milley, former General Alston, and the Marine General were all up for only 2 days, because, you know, we still have a hearing over a mob, but only 2 days where lots of people died, not just one, 2 days, and they asked the question, why did we give up Bagram? And because our troop strength had to be so far. Well, who said that? And then all of a sudden you hear, because they wasn't going to tell who told that. And that answered the question right there. So moving along, I'm going to say there has been some positive in 2021, Coach.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And
there has been some.
The one positive I'm going to cover is in America has had over the last few years, we questioned the court system. And I think we could go tip our hat, raise our champagne glasses, and go, you know what? Our judicial system's got it down right. Think about this. The Chauvin case, everybody said it wouldn't work out right. It worked out right. The Rittenhouse case, innocence prevailed. It worked out right. The Aubrey case, that dude's going away a long time.
Yep.
The Jesse Smollett case,
finally justice
called what it was. He was a liar.
A liar and a
hoax.
hoax.
Made the shit up. So I'm here to say in 2021, we've had a nice warm dish of your justice system works just fine.
Sure. I teach principles of law, and we talk about different cases all the time. And they point out certain cases like Michael Brown and Ferguson, and they talk about, George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin and situations like that. But when you actually study the trials, even when the Justice Department got involved, even with Eric Holder being involved with the one with Michael Brown, and he's African American himself, they realized that what the officer did, based on the law of that state, was correct. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the trade. Might not like that George Zimmerman should not have chased this guy, but when it came down to the altercation, self-defense prevailed. More than not, our justice system, first of all, and the way I teach this is we don't have a perfect justice system, but there's not one around the world that's any better. We have the best. But the justice system, more than not, works out correctly based on the law. If you don't like a law, you change the law. But based on the laws that we have, you should be innocent until proven guilty. And that's one thing in 2021 that we don't always follow. When it comes down to the media and social media, a lot of times we'll have a LeBron James moment where immediately someone's guilty in his mind,
Yeah.
or another person killing another kind of person. And identity politics comes into it. But when you actually get the emotions to the side, Vet, and you get to the trial, and you get both sides to present the evidence and bring the trial to the end, most of the time it works.
Yep, get them to court.
Let's get it to court.
Get it to court. Cut that media bullshit out.
We don't have many O.J. Simpson trials. We don't have many of those. And what was the name of the girl that got away from killing her baby that we all pretty much know she killed her baby in Florida?
Oh, I can't remember her name. But
yeah, it happens, but 99% of the time it works correctly.
get away from the media, get away from the politicians because they don't know shit,
Right.
and get it to court. Get it to court. That's all we got to do. So this is my interpretation of 2021. I don't know what yours is, Coach. And it's been an interesting year, to say the least.
It's gone fast.
It has.
It's been at times some of the most frustrating with the COVID, with the pandemic. It's been some of the most frustrating when it's come down to having a new president with this new unity but then you see this progressive movement in our country. It's very frustrating when you see socialism talked about now that 15, 20 years ago, those people would have been told to shut up, and now it's just become part of the norm, and almost like, well, why wouldn't we go that way?
Well, the other thing I'll say is it seems like 47 years of experience really doesn't serve you well. Because it shows a lot of inexperience in that office right now. Maybe the next president should have got their knuckles dirty doing some other stuff besides being a career politician and extorting your money for their campaigns. I'm just throwing it out there.
Real quick before we end, you're correct. Look at George W. Bush.
Yeah.
Look at Bill Clinton. He was a governor before and did some things. He was an attorney.
Yeah.
You don't want a career politician. Just that's all they've ever done, leading the country, because they're all about the political part of the way things look instead of knowing how to get their hands dirty like Trump did, like George W. did. I mean, you cannot be a career politician, in my estimation, and be a good president.
Yeah, our last great president, in my mind, was Ronnie Reagan.
I mean, he was a sports guy and an actor.
And he was an actor. You know, he knew how to look in the camera and smile. But what he didn't know how to do and didn't have a lot of experience on was how do you extort your money so you can perpetually stay in office.
Well, look at the career politicians that we've had in the last 4 or 5. I know we got to get out of here.
Yep.
Joe Biden.
Yep.
Barack Obama.
Yep.
Nixon.
Yep.
Johnson.
Yep.
Kennedy.
Yep. There
That
you
says
go.
enough right there.
That says it all. I don't think highly of any of them. So with that, we're going to say, get the hell out of here 2021 because we want to welcome in, baby.
I don't want to welcome in Omicron. I want to welcome in 2022.
Bring in 2022. Hold on. I'm bringing in the chopper of 2022 right now.
Another
Safe
Super
land.
Bowl's
Safe
coming
land.
in 2022.
Safe land.
There's
Yeah.
another Super Bowl coming.
It's going to be the blue and silver team. So,
The
from the
Seahawks-
coach,
Seahawks aren't in the Super Bowl. To the vet.
stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.